Before we dive into the gritty details of WWII survival ingenuity, I need you to hit subscribe to my channel because what you're about to learn isn't just history. It's practical knowledge you can apply if modern systems fail. The strategies we'll explore today kept soldiers, civilians, and resistance fighters alive in some of the harshest winters Europe has ever seen. And the cleverness behind them still has lessons for anyone preparing for long-term survival today. During the war, energy scarcity wasn't hypothetical. Coal, oil, and electricity were luxuries reserved for the military or essential industries. Ordinary civilians, partisans, and soldiers had to improvise, often with nothing but scrap metal, wood, and their own ingenuity. The techniques I'll share were designed to maximize heat efficiency without modern infrastructure. They are practical, historically grounded, and surprisingly effective even by today's standards. The first method is using a thermal mass stove made from scavenged bricks, stones, or even sand. In WWII, partisans in Eastern Europe would build simple wood-burning stoves, then surround them with bricks or stones. The concept is simple physics. Fire heats the stones, and the stones slowly radiate that heat over hours. For a practical modern application, if you're in a cabin without power, you can use a small metal stove or fireplace and stack fireproof bricks around it. Light the fire in the evening, and the residual warmth will keep the room tolerable through the night without constant tending. Next is the use of improvised insulation from materials at hand. During the Blitz, Londoners and Europeans would line their homes with thick blankets, newspapers, and even cardboard to trap heat. This wasn't just an afterthought. It was a calculated method to maintain warmth when fuel was scarce. On a practical level, you can do this today by creating insulated zones in your living area, layering old quilts, heavy curtains, or even foam panels to contain heat around your body. It works for rooms or even sleeping areas in unheated shelters. Third, let's talk about charcoal briquettes as a secret heat source. The German resistance and underground fighters often relied on small charcoal stoves that emitted long-lasting heat with minimal fuel. Charcoal burns slower than wood, produces less smoke, and can be used indoors with proper ventilation. Today, a small tin stove and charcoal can keep a confined space warm for several hours. Always ensure ventilation. History proves the method works, but safety cannot be ignored. Another ingenious technique was using water bottles filled with hot water, often called thermal bottles in wartime diaries. Soldiers would heat water over any available fire, seal it in bottles, and place it under blankets to warm their sleeping bags. This method is still entirely applicable. Heat a large container of water, place it at your feet in bed, and it will keep your body temperature regulated for hours without electricity. WWII survivors often credited this simple trick with preventing hypothermia during harsh winters. The fifth method involves earth insulation. Underground shelters were the most effective heaters because soil naturally regulates temperature. During WWII, people dug shallow bunkers or insulated basements, covering them with earth to trap heat. You can replicate this by creating partially underground shelters or insulating your existing basement with dirt-packed walls. The earth acts as a thermal buffer, keeping cold out while maintaining internal warmth with minimal fuel. Next, we encounter candle and oil lamp heating, which was a staple for many European households during blackouts. Candles were abundant even when fuel was scarce, and their heat, when collected in a small space, could meaningfully raise ambient temperature. A practical tip is to group several candles in a reflective container or behind a metal sheet to amplify their warmth. Historical accounts note that even a single oil lamp could warm a small room enough for someone to rest comfortably in freezing conditions. Finally, one of the most resourceful methods was creating body heat shelters. Soldiers and resistance fighters would huddle together in small insulated tents or makeshift structures to conserve heat. This method relies on the principle that human bodies generate substantial warmth. You can apply this today in emergency situations. Confined, insulated spaces occupied by multiple people retain heat far better than open areas. It's a technique rooted in history, but entirely valid for modern survival. These 7 methods, thermal mass stoves, improvised insulation, charcoal heating, thermal water bottles, earth insulation, candle and oil lamp heat, and body heat shelters, demonstrate that necessity drives innovation. What WWII survivors knew, and what modern preppers can implement, is that warmth is not about electricity. It's about strategy, resourcefulness, and understanding how heat behaves in confined spaces. Each method is scalable, adaptable, and most importantly, historically proven. If you're serious about preparing for emergencies, or simply fascinated by how human ingenuity overcame scarcity, these techniques are invaluable. You can test them in safe conditions at home, or integrate them into your survival toolkit for real-world application. Historical knowledge like this isn't just trivia, it's practical, life-saving insight. If you found this guide useful, share it with fellow history buffs and survivalists, and make sure to subscribe to the channel for more in-depth explorations of WWII survival secrets. Each episode uncovers real, actionable strategies that shaped history and continue to be relevant today.